Hello. Hello. Good evening. I hope that you had an opportunity to enjoy some of this gorgeous day. My word, it was beautiful outside. Not too hot, not chilly. Sun was shining. It definitely was a beautiful day. And I hope, parents, that you took an opportunity to enjoy some of it. My name is Coach Connie. I assist parents who are struggling with stress and family discord and support them on their shift or journey to parental peace. This evening, we're going to talk about an interesting topic very briefly. I understand it is Sunday and folks have things to do, probably involving getting ready for the work week, but we will not be here long. We're going to take a look at our G spots. Didn't expect to hear me say that, did you? Oh, G, the G spot stands for guilt. G, guilt, right. Uh, as parents, we understand that every day will not be sunshine and roses. However, there are sometimes when we have thoughts that go beyond not being rosy and they enter into the land of guilt. Guilt. Why do we feel guilty as parents? There are many reasons. There is not a hard, fast, one size fits all list. There are many reasons that parents might experience feelings of guilt. Feelings that come just from parenting and not necessarily from any involvement in any activity that would make you feel guilty is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Why do parents, even parents that have not done anything wrong per se, why is it common for parents, for us to experience feelings of guilt? We often feel guilty because we feel like we're not spending enough time with our children, especially if we work outside of the home. If we have to leave the home to go to a job, stay at the job, then travel back home, sometimes we look at that time as, time that we could have spent with our children. However, it's a catch-22. Most of the time, if we're working outside of the home, it's because we have to, not only because we're doing something that we love, but because there are bills to pay. And so oftentimes we are caught up in a guilty emotion if we feel as though we are not spending enough time with our children because of work. Sometimes, not sometimes, many times, as we are human beings, we will make mistakes. This parenting journey is not a one size fits all journey, and it does not come with a roadmap. So sometimes we will make missteps, and we will sometimes feel guilty and beat ourselves up for those missteps. A third reason why parents sometimes experience guilt, if we don't feel like we're living up to our own expectations or society's expectations of how we should be performing as a parent, we sometimes internalize those feelings and feel guilty. And then finally, for tonight's conversation, not not that these are the only reasons, but for tonight's conversation. And finally, sometimes we feel guilty if we're not giving enough to our child, if we're not doing enough tangibly, things that they ask for, things that they may need, and we may not be able to provide. So there's many reasons why we feel guilty as parents. When you feel guilty, don't ignore the feeling. It's best not to ignore the feeling. It's best to acknowledge that there are feelings of guilt. Acknowledge why you feel guilty, and then decide what it is you want to do about it. So let's go back down our brief list. First we said we may feel feelings of guilt if we are working, and let's say we're going for a promotion and we are working very hard because we are trying to earn this promotion. We are trying to get a little bit of shine in our boss's eye. And so we are working. And we may feel like we're putting our home, our family life, our children on the back burner. And you may feel guilty because of that. So ask yourself, are the extreme hours at work, are they temporary or are they permanent? Are you having a very busy season, or is your work life itself busy? Is there any structure to when you have the extreme hours, or is it haphazard? On one hand, if you know that there is a busy season, if you know that there's a structure, for example, if you are an on-call doctor and you work for 10 days straight and you work 12 hours, you know that you will have 4 hours when you're not working. And so that's the balance. You know, you have to go hard for 10 days, you have all 4 days. Or if you're working for a promotion or if there's a special project. So the intense hours are temporary. If it's temporary, there's a structure. You can have the conversation with other folks in your family, with your children, explaining that this is a temporary, this is either a temporary thing or it is the structure, the cadence of my work world. But it's not like this all the time. It's not like this every day. There is a plan, and here is how I plan to spend time with you when I am not working. However, if the hours are haphazard, you may want to ask yourself if that job, if your career is in alignment with what you want to be for your family, for your child, for your children. So structured, planned, special project, one-off is one thing. But if you're, all over the place, if you frequently make plans to pick your child up from school and, you can't make it because of something that popped up and it's work-related and you had no idea it was coming, you may want to have a conversation with your boss and see if there's anything that can be changed in your work schedule. Making mistakes. We always feel guilty when we make a mistake. And some mistakes children will forget about long before we do. Some mistakes children will hold on to. It depends on the mistake. It depends on the mistake. And it depends on the relationship, right? Some children understand that their parents make mistakes, but they understand who their parent is as a person. And they know the difference between a parent making a mistake that hurts them and the parent has owned up to the mistake and explained why the mistake occurred and, made plans for it not to happen again. And so the child will understand that I wasn't intentionally hurt. It was an accident. It was a mistake. It's the mistakes that are not addressed. And when I say addressed, obviously, as you remember, I am the queen of tweens and teens. So I'm speaking about that age group when I'm speaking about addressing mistakes. Obviously, if you're speaking about a 6-month-old infant, you can't address the mistake with your infant. They won't understand. Tweens and teens, they understand. They understand quite well when a mistake has been made. So having the conversation with them, having them understand what the mistake was, how it occurred, and always in child appropriate language, right? So having a conversation with your 15-year-old, if you promised your 15-year-old that there was going to be a car on their 16th birthday and you know that that car is not coming, have the conversation with your 15-year-old. Tell them why the car is not coming. Tell them what you plan to do in order to get the car as soon as possible. Or if there's not going to be a car, have that conversation as well in age appropriate language without putting any type of responsibility or pressure on the child. If you're feeling guilty because you feel you're not meeting your expectations as a parent or societal's expectation as a parent, extend yourself grace. No parent is perfect. No parent gets it right 100% of the time. And the only expectations that should be have a place in your child rearing are the ones that lead to your children being safe and healthy and your family being happy. There are no outside expectations that should have any type of say on how you raise your children, unless there are expectations of safety and health. And then finally, not doing enough tangibly. You haven't purchased the latest pair of jeans. You didn't buy the latest video game. This guilt right here, this last guilt identifier, the guilt that comes from not providing tangible things, open the window and throw that guilt out the window. I'm going to say this. Your children much more value your time, your attention, and your affection than the shiny baubles that you purchase for them. Now, again, they are children and they may not know how to articulate that. They may not know how to demonstrate that. But I'm telling you, your children much more appreciate time spent, quality time, taking an interest in who they are than feeling like you have to go broke buying them things. Buying them things is not love. Presents are okay. And, we like to celebrate and do nice things for our children, but you don't get the Parent of the Year award because of the items that you purchased for your child. So open the window and throw the guilt for not buying them enough things, throw that out the window. We don't have to be guilty about how many things we've purchased our children. Live for experiences, live for moments, live for memories, as opposed to living for things. So again, guilt is a normal part of the parenting journey. There are tons of reasons why we experience guilt as parents. Some guilt actually exists because there was a serious incident occurred and that needs to be addressed internally by you. However, there are some instances of guilt that are parents experiencing the normal ebb and flow of raising a child. And it's about acknowledging that the feeling exists and deciding what you are going to do about it. It's not that that type of guilt is going to go away. If you are a hard worker, you will always feel like you could be spending more time with your kids. So sometimes the guilt is a presence that is consistent. However, extend yourself grace. Make sure that you are thinking about the big picture, the end game, and not beating yourself up for what's happening in the moment. If anything that was shared here about guilt has resonated with you, has made you have more questions, has brought up strong feelings for you, please go to our homepage, click the link, book a discovery call. You do not have to do this alone. We are here for one another. Us parents have to stick together. Again, I'm Coach Connie. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.